across any company and any sector, whether it is banking or consulting.
Right.
So what I, specifically go as a thumb rule is transparency, ethics and transparency. So to discuss more, to have multiple discussions with your stakeholders, customers, and the management. That is the key. Prepared for any disaster or cyber attacks which may happen in any time during the year. So that is one thing, that continuous awareness and sharing. So what I do is, we send emails periodically. Okay, even fortnightly. Certain environments, any incident happens, we understand. As I said, I have teams where I appoint them to specifically do certain researches in terms of what incidents are happening across sector, specifically BFSI, and what is the modus operandi of that particular incident.
Hi everyone, you're watching The Mainstream. I'm Simran Shivalkar, your host for today. Today we are joined by yet another cybersecurity leader and a visionary, Miss Komal Vora. Firstly, Komal, thank you so much for joining us and being a part of the series.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting.
Hey, absolutely. Let me take a moment to share a few things about Komal. To begin with, she is a seasoned cybersecurity as well as a risk leader with more than 25 years of experience spanning IT, infra, consulting, governance, IS audit, as well as enterprise security. Currently, as the CISO at Equifax India, she drives security strategy, regulatory compliance, cyber resilience across highly regulated environments. With deep expertise in risk management, security operations, as well as large scale governance frameworks, Komal is known for building strong security postures, elevating organizational maturity, as well as aligning cybersecurity with business trust and continuity. I am actually excited to hear her perspective, her insights on the ever changing risk landscape. So, without any further ado, let's begin. Komal, like I said, a dynamic experience of more than 25 years leading the cybersecurity landscape. We talk about risk, IT, governance as well. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey and your philosophy today as a modern CISO?
So my journey started back in 2000. So I started my career actually as a programmer, right? So where I implemented a B2B portal for import-export chemical company. After that, I entered into their IT administration. That time it was called as end user computing administrator. So, then I, entered into consulting field after that role, where, I used to be an implementer as well as advisory roles I had, cutting across all sectors. I joined an Indian consulting firm, under the, leadership of Narendra Aneja, that is Aneja Associate I had joined. So after which, there I learned many things, and it was my first exposure towards across sectors where, I had opportunities for implementing SAP. Then, we had also implemented ISO 27001 PCI DSS framework we had implemented. So as a consultant, then we had also done, DLP implementation of tools, and all security tools were implemented for many clients of Aneja Associate. So that is how, I got an opportunity there. And, the insight and visibility and experience which I got was amazing. I also got an opportunity to, set up the whole new office of, Aneja Associate at our Lower Parel Peninsula Corporate Park. I proudly say that the reason being that was my first exposure of, implementing data center along with the data server rooms, and also, maintaining and, creating, and the help of vendors developing that new setup for Aneja Associate. So, that is my key, I would say, achievement when in start of my career. So that gave me an insight and visibility of all technical aspects of security as well as technology, what needs to be implemented, how it needs to be implemented, how to handle vendors and ensure that work as a team, and all the things are implemented in a very seamless, smoothly manner. After which I entered into a multinational firm, Grant Thornton. There also I had an opportunity to an additional exposure with what I had in the previous firm. We had SOX implementation. So SOC 1 and 2 reports we used to implement in terms of framework and as well as effectiveness of the operation controls. So, and along with that, many implementation in terms of security tools of, DLP, IPS. So those kind of stuff I used to do. So it was very good multinational exposure in a multinational firm. So that was another achievement in my career. After which I joined HSBC Bank. So that was, I entered into the corporate world again, the banking sector. From that day till date, I'm always into, RBI regulated entities. So HSBC Bank, there I entered into, technical department where I used to review certain, operating system databases, configurations, and then, network configuration, devices configuration, and then we used to harden them. Then I entered into certain projects, flagship projects of HSBC, where we had to do, pre-planning stage we entered, and we used to give a recommendation as a consultant out there. Though I was a part of that HSBC Bank department, but we used to do that. That is self-analysis we used to do in terms of project monitoring, continuous monitoring. So those kind of flagship projects for HSBC Bank I have implemented. Along with that, I also used to, help the department and the company for implementing many security controls and checking their, reviewing their, effectiveness of that environment in terms of security posture. So that was my role in HSBC Bank. It was big tenure for me, and it was a wonderful experience. After which I entered into, Indian firm, Kotak Mahindra Bank, right? So they're also similar kind of role where I entered into, information security reviews and project management. So after which I entered into Japanese bank, which is a Mizuho Bank. That was Asia Pacific role where I used to travel across all units of Mizuho Bank. So it's a Japanese bank, and I used to travel and, so coming across the regulators, different countries regulators, and managing those regulatory audits and reviews, and, representing Mizuho Bank as, lead for the security and technology aspect. So that was my role in that company. So that was a different kind of experience, because dealing with different regulators of different countries is an challenging as well as, a self-learning kind of a process, because to deal with different kind of regulators and expectation is a really a big challenge. Coming from an Indian environment, though our Indian regulator RBI is much more, strict and, very aggressive compared to other regions. But coming across other countries, Asia Pacific countries, regulators, and trying to implement things for that company was a challenging role, but it was fun because, we could pass through and it was successfully done. So that was the value addition, which I also got, and the company also. So that is how the experience progressed in that area also. So, handling regulator became my USP. So whenever there were, difficult regulators in some countries, I used to go and, do a pre-planning and analysis of environment of that unit for the bank, and then, we would represent, because, facing regulators and, and handling them very diplomatically in a way where, the organization also benefits, and whatever the regulator informs or instructs, we have to comply with that. So that is how that it's a very thin line between, handling that specific challenges and, coming through and getting through successfully is achievement in itself every time whenever you deal with those regulators. So that was additional experience which I got. After which I entered again into, Equifax. Okay. Sorry, Yes Bank. I entered into Yes Bank. And then there also I had a two kind of profiles. I entered as, information security head, audit head, and, completed 2 years audit calendar. And then I entered into InfoSec department of Yes Bank. So that is how I had played dual role out there. And I was reporting there to the CISO and in Yes Bank then, and I had a department running of 40 staff, under me. So that is how the InfoSec journey totally in terms of, the second line of defense entered, where, we again implemented many security controls for the Yes Bank as per the, RBI regulations and, ISO 27000, PCI. Then we used to handle SEBI. So these kind of, IRDA insurance layer also. So there are certain aspects where, a different kind of regulators also entered in, because, we had many products which had many mandatory compliance requirements from the regulators based on the product and services which we offer. After which I entered as in Equifax as a CISO. Now currently working in Equifax as a CISO, responsible. I report into UK and USA. So I have 3 reportings actually. India, I as a on-site I report to Indian D, and then internationally I report to my group CISOs. So that is how it works, and I support UK and US regions also whenever required, along with the India region responsible responsibility and accountability, direct accountability, and handle even the regulators whenever they come in for the audits and governance piece. So that is the whole journey which I have in terms of my 25 years of experience. That is, in a summary, if I just would say in one line, it is combination of multinational, Indian, and consultings as well as banks. So that is my exposure in terms of coming from the ground level, where I was actually a developer, then implemented things as an administrator, entered into consulting, and as a auditor also. So that is how that's my complete cycle of my experience. So, and if you say the second question which you asked was how it is and what makes me as a value addition to my organization, which is current Equifaxis. See, what I learned in the whole journey from the junior level to the leadership role, whatever I have traveled across different in banking sector only, but across different regions and culture. So that brings experience which I like to value add, and I take advantage of is I have seen across any firm, whether it is multinational or Indian, the teams play in isolation. So within technology also the teams don't talk. So like if I say development team wouldn't talk to infra, or infra won't talk to application owners, which are in the technology domain. So there is a quite lot of isolation. People play in isolation. So working as a CISO, we need to bridge all the gaps, okay, across departments, so that there is harmony and there is a bonding and work as a team. Because the deliverables as a security, to strengthen the security of any environment, there has to be alignment with business stakeholders, okay, and along with tech and infosec. So all three components needs to sync in and align, so that good deliverable or a good security posture can be established. So that is a challenging part where people management comes in this whole year, in the tenure of my career. I've learned the skills when how to manage and ensure that and in Indian culture we have seen there are lots of ego issues are there, and you have to handle that very delicately and manage that, so that whatever is required as for the company as a value addition, and as for the department which is actually a value addition, that we need to bring out. Even if there will be challenges where people will push back, people won't accept. So to convince them to get it aligned and to be in the same boat where everyone agrees to that requirement, and implementing the deliverables in terms of security is a must. And that is how, and also convince the board management to implement things. It's a challenge. So people, I would say, in this whole career journey, I think people management skill is the most important and critical, which plays a very crucial role to actually deliver security and implement security within the environment. Any environment it can be, any organization. So that is one key aspect which I would like to highlight. And then adoption of technology. The new technologies comes in, right? Like AI, if we say we need to adopt AI, we can't just say, oh, it's a new trend, I don't know, and there may be risk. So what, as a security professional, one has to do is you do the risk assessment of the new technology before adopting it. So you analyze your own environment, do the gap analysis, try to adopt the new technology and see whether it is really value addition to your organization or not, and whether it aligns to the business strategy of the company or not. So if that goals are aligned, management also agrees along with the board, then we go and adopt new technologies also. Because in security we say hackers always collaborate and they come up with all new technologies and methodologies in terms of very high tech attacks of AI based and all. So if we do not prepare ourselves or prepare our teams, okay, for defense with the help of new latest technology like AI, it becomes very difficult. We'll be always behind them. So to be one step ahead of hackers, we need to also adopt all latest technologies and go ahead with this. So these are the two things I think which really helps me to give a value addition to my company.
Fantastic. I think that pretty much sums up your philosophy as a modern CISO. Komal, thank you so much for taking us through your journey as well. Next, although you have, given us a broadened view, I still want to understand from you the industry that you have been leading. Security is almost synonymous to trust, as a leader, as a CISO, how do you balance, giving out or delivering a seamless customer experience and business growth, but at the same time making sure that the compliance doesn't take the back seat, or, all your regulatory checks don't take a back seat, and there is a smooth, seamless customer experience at the same time?
So this basic requirement is across any company and any sector, whether it is banking or consulting.
Right.
So what I, specifically go as a thumb rule is transparency. ethics and transparency. So to discuss more, to have multiple discussions with your stakeholders, customers, and the management. That is the key in this. The transparency, awareness, bringing awareness within the teams across departments, and ensuring that whatever customer requires or requires in terms of, like, example if I may give you, is the customer may, whenever they are integrating with an organization for any services like API integration, so they would require that they should get an assurance of the organization's controls, security controls, and effectiveness. So we need to give them control assurance in terms of how we are doing, what we are doing, so that they get a transparent view of the company. That how the controls are implemented, what are the frameworks or the standards, which NIST standards we have adopted or not, what frameworks like ISO 27000, PCI DSS, what kind of frameworks we have adopted, so that there is a very clear cut transparency and visibility to the organization. So that builds a trust in the customer, and when the customer gets the trust, then the business grows. Okay, so that is how it has to be in sync along with the business strategy of the company. So I think a key point to be taken is transparency, awareness, and the ensuring that see, when we give these assurances, we appoint a third party auditors, okay, who will give us that report. So it's an independent risk reviews which happen, audit reviews happen, and then that product, when the report which is shared, okay, that can be shared with the customers. So there is a very transparent, and those are all certain and paneled auditors, so approved by the regulators. So there is a very clean and transparent view of the organization, which really builds in trust with the customer, and that is how the business also grows, and that is how you do a value addition to the organization. So this is the first aspect in terms of transparency, and then continuous awareness, periodic awareness in terms of the new threats, which are security threats which come in. So you make the customer as well as the staff of the organization aware of the same, and what are do's and don'ts of those things. Really help to work together as a customer, business, stakeholders, and grow yourself. So that is what is my key thing when I do this in terms of customer relationship.
Right. So when we
or any products also, whenever we release, so that has to go through all information security, risk reviews, and gap analysis, and ensuring that we are as per the regulatory requirement. The compliances are ensured in terms of geofencing, in terms of localization, data localization. So these are the aspects which RBI, Indian regulator, asks. That also the customer will also ask. So when you are in sync with the compliance in terms of regulator, we are already in sync with the customer, because all the regulator anywhere in the world, okay, it is whether it is India region or any other, they all require certain basic standard technology and security controls in place. So if you are in compliance with that, by convincing your stakeholders and ensuring the budgets are approved, you get those things, you implement those controls. So that makes a healthy environment, and that is how we all can grow together.
Absolutely. And I think when you talk about the changing risk landscape, today we have AI. We already spoke about the rising risk of AI. It's also an ally and, a threat as well. What do you think as a security leader today are the top risks in the financial landscape? Some things, that data driven industries should prioritize with innovations like AI coming into the picture.
So the topmost risk which I see as, BFSI sector is AI driven attacks, which happened. All right. Then we have deepfakes, which are happening nowadays. And we also have the social engineering attacks, which are becoming more and more advanced. So these are the three major threats, which I think, are the latest trends, and we need to give a priority and ensure that, we give awareness to our staff as well as customers, including vendors. Okay. So we need to have a community where we share all those things and ensure, the upgrade happens across. So as and when new attacks enter with the different new latest modus operandis, we should be, studying that as an information security department, and, giving guidelines or, proactive approach has to be done, so that, we don't fall prey to those, threats. So that is how it has to be, it's a continuous effort. I mean, I would say it's all 365 days, 25/7, as the army defends our country, right? The same way InfoSec also has to be continuously doing researches in the environment and sectors, along with giving awareness and upgrading ourselves. Even the staff needs to be be upgraded so that, they can identify and protect and defend digital network of the organization. So that is the one thing which, we continuously do along with whenever these new threats come in. So that's my basic one, that we have teams within our teams. We have, and even the regulator also shares, like we are as a banking BFSI, we are regulated by many regulators like RBI, SEP, all right. So wherever they have a standard in terms of cloud security, so they give us standards and guidelines which we have to adhere, and also they give real time notifications in terms of any sector, any incident happens, okay, in terms of cyber attacks. So they share with us. They share certain IPs which are to be blocked on continuous basis. So those things needs to be, proactively taken care by, organizations, infosec departments, so that, we are always protected. So now, in India also we have a very good community, as well as with the help of the regulators, this kind of sharing and caring happens, so that very closely, connected with our peers, okay, across sectors, like different CISOs. We have different communities where we have joined. So we share these kind of information and we ensure that we protect our organization. As I said, the hackers collaborate. So now the regulators across regions, across countries, across groups have collaborated. They are in touch. They inform all these things. They share all these things along with, do's and don'ts and proactive measures which needs to be taken care of as an organization. So, that is how it is taken care of. As a regulator, as I said, they share those things and we implement in our organization. So that keeps you ahead of the threats and always prepared. There are certain drills which we need to do, as a simulation in our environment. So annually we do it, those drill tests, a disaster recovery and all those things, so that we are always prepared. And the staff is also aware what is to be done, how it is to be done, who has to do it, which teams has to collaborate together and give these deliverables whenever any incident or threat happens in any situation. So these are the things which always helps in, being ahead of the latest threat which are always available in the environment.
Absolutely. Speaking on those lines, Komal, today strengthening or, building that kind of cyber maturity, it's often said that culture is one of the major aspects that is looked upon at. Any approaches that you have found most effective from your experience in building, a security first culture or that kind of awareness, and also to generate a kind of accountability across the teams?
So always, what I try to do is, as a information security or, as a senior leadership role, we need to build trust and bonding between all the staff, vendors, as well as customers. All right. So that is one thing which, as I said, it's a key people management thing which we need to do and continuously be in touch with them. Along with that, the continuous awareness programs which we need to, drive, so that, each and every person in the organization, from the junior most level till the management and board level, all need to get involved and participate in those awareness programs and drives or stimulations, the crisis management simulations which we do annually, the drills which they need to participate. So once they participate, these things, all the security related, action plans or steps gets refreshed with everyone's mind. All right. And that is how we are always, prepared for any disaster or, cyber attacks which may happen in any time during the year. So that is one thing, that continuous awareness and sharing, so what I do is, we send emails periodically. Okay. Even fortnightly, certain environments, any incident happens, we understand. As I said, I have, teams where I appoint them to specifically do certain researches in terms of what incidents are happening across sector, specifically BFSI, and what is the modus operandi of that particular incident. We study that and we send this, awareness mails to all our, stakeholders, customers, external or internal, so that including vendors along with staff, so that, everyone is aware of these kind of things. So they're latest aware of all the trends which are happening in terms of incident and what are the do's and don'ts which they need to follow. In terms of accountability, what we do is, the staff when is onboarded, okay, during inductions, they are informed about the accountability of, because see, security is not a team or a person's job. It is as a team. Okay. A junior person also clicking on one phishing link may, have an incident across our environment, and there might be a data leakage. So we, from the first day when a person gets onboarded as a staff in our company, or a vendor who gets onboarded in the company, we ensure that we inform them all the information security policy related, guidelines in terms of what action has to be done, what they need to, follow and, adhere to in terms of of compliance of the regulators, all right? And they signed a NDA. So they are also accountable for these kind of things, how they need to inform. So as we are regulated, they give us license, RBI. So we also have a responsibility of informing the regulator within 6 hours whenever an incident happens. Once it is identified, we need to inform the regulator, right? So this can only happen when each and everyone, whoever is in the organization in terms of stakeholders, customers, vendors, okay, all are aware of these requirements and they are always, proactive.
Right.
Okay. So that is how, we build in and we try to make people accountable by signing NDAs, and we ensure we annually review them also. So if we see if there is IT outsourcing framework and guidelines by the regulator, right? So all the regulators give this guidelines and we have to annually review them. So we annually also remind them, we ask them to re-sign the NDA so that, it is refreshed and the accountability is established. We also do annual periodic InfoSec policy awareness for our staff and customers so that everyone is aware of the updated security requirements and the compliance requirements. So that is how we continuously run these programs. We also run certain programs in terms of we have events in the organization where we invite all the stakeholders, and then they participate in these drives and drills so that when they participate they know how it is to be
Correct.
managed, or who are other team members they need to collaborate with, and then how they need to respond as an organization from the board level to the junior most level. So that is how when it is fun with games. All right. I remember in one of the organization, what we have done was we had invited the staff for certain, 2-3 day events where, continuously there were 7-8 workshops which were running across different tracks where they had to participate. They get gifts if they answer it correctly. So it was just based on the information security policies, classification of data, and, those kind of stuff, awareness in terms of security, regulatory requirements. So those kind of game like Housey we have. So in Housey we had certain security tool related, we had prepared those kind of Housey hits, and then they used to respond. And if they answer correctly, they get prizes. So that kind of, we had, amalgamated all those kind of stuff, which becomes a enjoyable thing also, and people remember. All right. So these kind of events we continuously do, and in different ways we come up with the different themes. Then we had certain calendars which we used to make that was InfoSec related. So, there are themes for each and every month. So that is how we drive. Then there is October month, which we always run in any organization as information security, month, where we continuously do these kind of different events, which help all the stakeholders to be aware, and the compliance is also ensured. So that is how we make people accountable. We give the priority budget take from the management and ensure that everyone is aware that this is a very critical thing which everyone should be aware, they should follow. There is zero tolerance to any non-compliance to information security and regulatory compliance. So that is how that accountability and management governance we try to showcase so that people are aware of that.
Fantastic. And lastly, Komal, if I had to ask you for a roadmap for the BFSI landscape from a security standpoint, today, what are the top priorities you see for any security leader or any CISO for that matter? What would that be? And how do you think this would kind of define the next era of enterprise security?
So the key things which, I think in next, 2-3 years, which we need to focus on is AI driven threat and defense mechanism, which we need to, mature and, upgrade everyone in terms
Right.
of the environment, in terms of tools, along with the staff awareness, so that, we are ahead of the real-time attacks along with the hackers. So, we need to have that strong defense in place, and that also proactive, right? So that is how that can be one key aspect. Secondly, what, as the cloud adoption is happening, so we may have a hybrid cloud environment where certain things are, physically present as servers and certain things virtual, certain things on cloud. So the hybrid kind of environment. So visibility across your environment, and the security tools visibility across, and they should be in sync and harmony so that they are effectively used. So that can be one key aspect which a person should look into and ensure that they are running effectively. So you will get the return of investment of anything which is you are implementing in your environment, whether it is any high tech tool or fraud defense or threat defense or user behavior analytics or monitoring tools are there. So So those things will help us defend or protect ourselves proactively, threats which are from the environment, real-time environment. Third aspect which I would like to focus on is the awareness part, as I said. So if these three components are taken care of, I think we are in alignment and, in a better produce environment, which is, enhanced security is there in the environment, and security always is strengthened maturity and continuous improvement, which is also in line with the compliance regulatory requirement. So I think if these 3-4 aspects are taken care of, that really helps to, progress and build ourselves for any future threats.
Absolutely. I think that would make any security leader or a CISO future ready when we talk about innovation today and the rising threat landscape. Thank you so much, Komal. This has really been a very insightful conversation. Thank you so much for taking us through your journey, giving us some valuable insights on the next era of security, especially when we talk about the BFSI landscape. And once again, I look forward to connect with you again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.